All right, so today we're gonna put on our front bumper on the Turbo-R and Pro-R. Pretty straightforward install, not super complicated, and we'll kind of go through that. So first thing we need is to go through our tools. So we're gonna get a 15mm wrench with a swivel socket, ratchet, 3/8 ratchet, a small screwdriver that'll help us get the push pins out, a 15mm wrench to get to some of the bolts, and then a 5/32 Allen wrench for tightening the skid plate down. So a couple things about our bumper. So the bumper was designed to be winch capable either way. So you can put your factory Polaris, Super ATV, most 4500 series winches will fit in there no problem. And then we have two different skid plates. So we have our winch ready skid plate, which comes with the billet aluminum fair lead, 6 bolts, and that bolts right on. And then you can pull your fair lead through there. It also comes with a pre-runner for somebody who's not gonna run a winch. It does fit on the same bumper. So same bumper structure, just a different skid plate. They are sold separately. They don't come together as a kit. So when you order your bumper, just specify on the website which one you want on the website or to your dealer. So, so that said, we're gonna go ahead and throw this thing on. So next up, we're gonna show you how to get everything ready to put the new bumper on. It's real simple. First thing we're gonna do is remove this plastic fascia here. And that's done by removing these 4 T40 screws, 2 there, and then 2 in the same spot on the other side. Just pull this cap off. Set it aside for now. And then we've got 2 push pins that are right here that we're gonna take out. So we'll grab a screwdriver for that. And just a small flathead screwdriver will help get these things out. You'll see that they'll just have a little pocket on them. Press them out. Push the little plastic pieces out. And that just allows the upper grill section to remove itself from the bumper. Next thing we're gonna do is take these 4 bolts out here. Those are our 15mm. These are a little tighter than this. We went through and checked everything to make sure everything was good to go. And this is where, on these top 2 bolts here, is where your extension will come in really handy. Both removing this bumper and putting the new bumper on. So there's the factory bumper, if you want to call it that. We'll take those 4 bolts, set this off to the side. So we've got the stock bumper off. The next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna get this front fascia piece ready for the new bumper. To do that, we're gonna grab our T40 Torx, undo these 4 bolts here. Then we're gonna grab our razor blade, and we're gonna trim these ears off. In the box, in the kit, there's gonna be a piece of paper that's gonna show you, kind of highlight where these are cut out at. It's real simple, it can be done with a razor blade. We'll show you how to do that right now. So we've got our plastic fascia here, and we're just gonna trim off this here. You can see where this cut line is. You're just gonna trim it off. You can trim it off with a razor blade. It's a little bit of work, but a razor blade will work, or a pair of 10 snips, even a pair of pliers. Once we put the skid plate on, you won't be able to see any of this, so you don't have to worry about it being perfect and smooth and everything else. Just give it a nice clean cut there. and then we'll get it back on the car. So we've got the front fascia back on. Again, we're leaving the bolts out so it's nice and loose. I grabbed an extra hand here with my buddy Eric, and we're gonna lift this thing up there and show you how it goes in. So it's a little cramped up there, so just having that extra pair of hands makes it a little easier to get things lined up. So you can put those top bolts in and just kind of get them in there by hand. Just a couple rounds just to hold the bumper in place. And then we can get our tool. And again, we'll hand thread the bottom ones in. Get those started. The bottom ones are a little bit easier to get to with a hand wrench. You could also, if you've got like a gear wrench or socket wrench, you could use that as well. Tighten our top bolts down. And it's the same procedure if you have a winch or don't have a winch. Obviously with a winch in there, it's a little tighter, a little more cramped, but you know, the process is the same. You're gonna access these bottom bolts from the bottom, and you're gonna put the winch on before you mount the bumper up, because the winch will mount to the 4 holes on the bumper plate there. So you'll get that done. Next thing, put our factory screws back in, and then we can put the skid plate on and wrap it up. So the bumper already has nutserts in it, so you don't need to do anything. Just put the screws in from the front. So you're going to grab one of your Allen head bolts and a washer. Put the top 2 bolts in to kind of hold it in place. Work our way down. Now this is the point if you're doing a skid plate bumper, or excuse me, a winch bumper, where you would want to pull your fair lead through and get your shackle block all set up. You know, if you're using the one that comes with the winch or an aftermarket shackle block. And another note is that with our bumper, with the winch version of the bumper, you need to use a poly rope. So we highly recommend the poly rope. It's much better for the skid plate and the fair lead. If you don't have a poly rope, there usually is a kit available, or if you want to stick with the steel one, you would use the fair lead that comes with the winch, and you would mount that to the skid plate and get rid of the aluminum one. That steel cable will just chew up that aluminum fair lead pretty quickly. So, so we'll tighten these 6 bolts down, and then we'll go over the final install and show you some other things about it. All right, so we've got all of our skid plate bolts tight, and you can see now that this skid plate follows the plastic nice and clean, so that cut edge, you can't even see it. We've got all our bolts tightened for that. And on On this bumper, I also want to point out the approach angle here. We're giving you plenty of approach angles, so if you hit a sand dune or berm or something like that, you're not going to get a bunch of sand over the hood. And up top, we have provisions here for pretty much any light you want to set up. You can do 2 6-inch lights, a couple 4-inch lights, a 10-inch light bar, even some 12-inch light bars will fit on there. And we also offer this in a dual tube, which is we call our Baja series, which has a second row up here, but nice and tucked in, nice and clean, easy, straightforward install. That combined with a grill completely changes the front look of your Turbo-R or Pro-R. So check it out on the website or your local dealer and get one for your car.